everybody, and welcome back to part 13 of Godzilla-thon, and this one is kind of a big one, I gotta say. It's Godzilla vs. Megalon, or in Japanese, Godzilla time, Megaro! Now, this was one of the very first Godzilla movies I ever saw as a kid, ever, and it's got a lot of nostalgic value for me, too. I bought it in a VHS double pack with Godzilla 85 back in, like, 98 or something, and it was a long time ago. But I always have had a special place in my heart for this movie, but I know a lot of people don't. So let's take a look at this one and just the basic plot line, then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So the movie stars two older guys and a kid. Yeah, don't go there. Actually, he's a professor, and Jinko is his, I'm assuming, his research assistant, and his little brother, apparently. And they're building an android, or at least the professor is, and he builds an android, pretty much, because he's a professor and he can do that kind of thing. But at the same time, earthquakes are happening everywhere, and two thugs break into his apartment house studio place, and apparently doing nothing but looking around and just, you know, pretty much messing with his android. And they go on with their merry little way, pretty much not caring about what happened, and complete the robot, which they call Jaguar. It's at this time that we learn the ancient kingdom of Seatopia, kind of like an Atlantis sort of thing, where they used to live on Earth, but then they're underwater now, wanted to take revenge on the humans for a recent atomic nuclear blast which took out 1/3 of their country. And I would be mad too if that happened. So they send their god thing, which they worship, and it's called Megalon. So first you're thinking, oh, this is going to be some huge, scary god of ancient sea life. But no, it's just a giant beetle. And he acts like a spaz. I'm not kidding. When they unleash Megalon on the town of Tokyo, and he just acts like a total idiot. He just jumps around and kind of flies through the air. He just looks like a retard. That's the only thing I can say. He looks so stupid. I mean, not that the costume, not that the monster looks stupid, it's just the way he acts looks stupid. And it is, because he just jumps around like a little kid. He skips through the air. I'm not kidding, he skips through the air. I don't know. But he doesn't exactly strike fear in the hearts of, you know, mankind. But he does do enough damage to where they need to do something about it. And they also happen to reprogram Jaguar, which is how they communicate with the giant bug. And that's when the professor comes up with a better idea and starts getting Jaguar under his own control again. And he then sends him off for Godzilla, to Monster Island for Godzilla, where we see a short little scene of Anguirus, which was actually newly shot, and then Godzilla comes on his way to save the day. The Seatopians retaliate in turn by contacting their friends from the Nebula Space Hunter M1 galaxy, I think, which I think that's what it's called, and they send them Gigan, their monster, which you'll remember from the previous movie was the cockroach aliens, which also had Gigan under their control. So, as you can see, continuity! That was actually a pretty cool little addition in there, but it does beg the question, why do the Seatopians know how to contact aliens, and us humans, which are, you know, kind of in between here on land, have never done that before? I don't know. But they contact them, and Gigan and Megalon team up against Jaguar, who also happens to program himself to grow gigantic, and, you know, kind of makes it sort of, you know, easy for us to visualize him fighting two giant monsters when he too is also giant. All seems lost until Godzilla comes up and saves the day, and I gotta say, this Godzilla looks pretty cool. It's definitely a whole lot different from any previous Godzilla. This is the 73 suit, and it's definitely really cool. It's one of my favorites. I know a lot of people don't like him. They say he looks too puppy dog-ish, or too Barney the dinosaur-ish. I really don't see it too much. I do just like him a lot better, though, than the other Godzillas, and he's probably one of my favorite suits ever. But definitely cool, and he and Jaguar team up against Megalon and Gigan, who looked like a bunch of hooligans compared to Godzilla, and they finally save the day. And Jaguar shrinks down to normal size and walks off into the sunset with his maker. So this movie was directed and co-written by Jun Fukuda, who had done previously Godzilla films. But what sets this one different is that it's also kind of cheesy. And the reason for that being is that it wasn't originally going to be Godzilla vs. Megalon, it was actually going to be Jet Jaguar vs. Megalon. And Godzilla and Gigan weren't even in the original script. But they realized that this wouldn't be very marketable, so they kind of added in Godzilla and Gigan at the last minute, turning about 3 weeks or so of production film and pretty much being done with it then. And that's kind of why it has some cheese value to it, and because they kind of had to slap it together with Godzilla and Gigan at the end. But it still looks pretty cool to me, and I've always liked it as a movie and as a nostalgic reason. The other thing people tend to kind of sort of count off for this movie is the fact that Jet Jaguar quite obviously is sort of imitating other famous tokusatsu or superheroes from Japanese TV shows and movies before it, such as Ultraman, for example, which was admittedly massively popular during this time as well. And yeah, I can see it, and it's kind of true, but I don't care. Despite all the cheesiness and the sort of hokey acting at times, this movie is still an old gem, and it's part of this, and it's part of Godzilla's lore, so you just gotta be in it. And although it doesn't really feel like a Godzilla movie, it kind of feels like another kaiju movie from Toho that was, you know, older and lower budget. It doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie. It feels like a movie that Godzilla just happens to appear in, and it kind of is. Like I said, that's kind of how the movie got its start. But it's still definitely a Godzilla movie, and you should definitely check it out if you have any interest in it at all. And like I said, continuity between this one and the previous one, which is always nice. But this would also sadly be kind of ending an era, because the next two films, which were the last two films of the Showa era, would take a totally different turn. But I kind of like it better that way. So I'll get to that movie when it comes out, when I get it next. But until then, this is Godzilla vs. Megalon. I am Creature Hunt Guy, and I'll see you